Welcome to the show. In today's show, we're going to do a review of the old Fright Night versus the new Fright Night. Original versus remake. And we just finished watching the remake of Fright Night, and thank God we're out here in the sun, because no vampires can get us. It's the perfect day to do a review about vampire movies. So, what do you think, Ryan, with the remake? First.
I actually liked it. They did a lot of changes to some of the characters, which I thought actually worked out better. Like Peter Vincent's character, they changed him up a lot. They kind of still kept the same premise of he's like, because the first one, Peter Vincent was kind of like the old '80s like horror movie like intro guy, um, and in the new one, he's kind of more of like a Chris Angel type character. But they both have like a background of knowledge on vampires, real or not real. Um, they definitely changed a lot of the characters up. I think some of the characters they added to gave you more of a feel for the characters. Actually, made you a little bit more invested in some of the characters. Some of the characters they changed up, and I liked it.
Well, I have to say that I like the remake better, or not the remake, the original better, just because I like the characters better, and I liked the story. They changed it in the remake in the beginning, and it really set a tone for me for the first half of the movie, and the second half I really liked. It picked up really well. I mean, it got really exciting. I like how they added to the story, but I like the original just a little bit better.
Well, myself, I had to really go with Linda on this. I like the original better. But there are things about the remake that I did like. Things about the original I like the atmosphere. I just like the way how the characters were written. But in the remake, the first half of the film I didn't like. In the second half of the film, I think redeemed it in a lot of ways. So that's basically my thoughts on the verses right now. But for all of you out there who have never seen Fright Night, what it's about is Charlie Brewster, whose neighbor is a vampire, and he kind of stumbles upon it. And in the original, and then in the remake,
It's Ed who stumbled upon it.
and then he kind of
And tells Charles.
tells Charles and kind of stumbles into it. So, overall, so when we sit there and watch this movie, comparing movies from 1985 to 2011 with the two Fright Night movies, what do you think are the strengths and what do you think are the weaknesses of both?
The strength on the first one was the atmosphere, because for the times, that's what really made a horror movie. The atmosphere, the feeling of like something there.
Suspense.
Yeah. You don't really have a whole lot of that in the new one, because that whole idea is actually kind of dying out in horror movies nowadays. So that gave a lot more to the first one. Some of the ideas in the first one were good. I liked the second one because there was more vampires in it. On the first one, you only had one vampire, and then like halfway through it, you got two more, so three in all together. And the new one, you got a lot more than three. I think that actually added a little bit more to it. Of course, in the first one, it was really modernized. I mean, the vampire lived in a house, which wasn't really seen in a lot of movies back in the day. They had like a castle, or they lived somewhere.
Like Gothic.
Right. And I thought it was kind of cool they did that in the first one, where they actually brought it to like the neighborhood where you're like, okay, well now that's something new. Now you feel safe in your neighborhood, like nothing's gonna happen. And so that was really cool. I like it, the new one, the additives the vampire made to the house to make it like more of a.
Well, the story behind
Well,
the vampire.
like for instance, so we have two vampires. We have in the original and in the remake. What are the differences between the two vampires? Like, what makes them different? Like, when you say the difference between the vampire Jerry in the original versus the vampire Jerry in the remake.
The vampire Jerry in the original is kind of like the older day vampires, where like he tries to hide what he is, and he goes about doing things like very carefully thought out, and he's very cautious to make sure no one knows he's a vampire.
Well, he was like your classic vampire, your romantic.
Your Dracula.
Yeah, your
Right.
Dracula. He was trying to romance her.
Right, and then in the new one, he's a vampire. My favorite line is he's like a great white shark. He just feeds to feed.
Yeah.
He doesn't care.
And the type of vampire he is too. He was a vampire from the Mediterranean, which is a whole different sort of vampire. Since it's been out for a while, I mean, can I say what type of vampire he is? Well, he was a vampire that would slowly feed off his victims, and he would like make his own colony of vampires that lived underground and dug. I mean, which is kind of a cool. It was a cool concept on the vampire where. When he got to that part of the movie, it kind of like dragged me back into it too, because it's like, oh wow, because there you have this whole different sort of vampire where it was a whole different take on what Jerry was. I think that was really successful in the remake, actually.
I like that they added that, the story, the history.
So, which vampire do you like better, the old Jerry or the new Jerry?
Oh, that's a hard question. The
Well,
new,
if you gave the old Jerry the background history.
no,
You have to go by what you know.
what we know.
Oh.
If you had old Jerry versus new Jerry in a fight.
No, which one do you like better?
He just made up his own
That's all I
plot.
can think of. I can't think of it as a fight. Like, which one do I like better? Oh God, I don't know. I like the old Jerry. That's a hard decision.
I'll go with the new Jerry.
I like the new one.
Just because of the story, it's not fair.
It's okay.
It's not
You
a
know
fair
what?
fight anyway.
It's not even the story. I like the new one because of the way the vampire acted, and they actually showed more of like
Yeah.
a difference in the vampire. In the first one, you saw
I
him as a
feel like
vampire a few
Jerry.
times, but every time you saw him as a vampire, like the scene where he's got Brewster up on the windowsill and he's getting ready to like
Kill him.
shut the window on him. Brewster pulls out a pencil, stabs it in his hand, and he's like, "Oh my God! Oh!" And he's like,
again, that was the times.
"Right, but no,
Yeah.
I'm saying, I'm pretty sure that would not.
Poor guy.
I'm pretty sure that would not fly with the new one.
No.
I mean, it didn't really make the vampire in the old one look like a really strong vampire. It looked like he's a vampire, but like, really,
He seemed more mean.
the new one or the old one?
The new one.
Yeah,
he was.
He just didn't
was a
seem like he
predator.
had any emotion, unlike the other one who showed more emotion as a character. You know, you saw him more as a vampire.
Who was
Where
it?
the other one,
Sorry.
he was just more killing machine.
Yeah, and he was more about he could have killed Brewster at any time, but he just couldn't get into his house.
Yeah, that was good.
The part where but the other thing, as far as I'd had to agree, I had to go with the new Jerry. I'm not gonna disagree with you there. But I think the whole subplot with the mother story and the new one was totally terrible. I didn't like it.
I don't like how they switched Charlie either. How they made him younger and then brought into a whole different scene too.
All right, so the
Sorry,
old Brewster
not to
versus
say
the
it.
new Brewster.
Well, you said.
I like old Brewster. Old Brewster.
Oh, old.
Yeah, me too.
Okay. Old evil versus new evil. Who wins that one?
I like the new evil.
I like the old evil.
I would have liked the new evil if he just didn't twist the story. I would have liked it better. But I like the old one better because he screwed it up. He ruined the movie. Yeah.
Well, there were scenes. I mean, there were scenes in there, like in the original, where evil becomes a vampire, then he goes to Peter Vincent's door, and there was no. It was done differently. Where Peter Vincent knew him, so we let him in, and then he found out he was a vampire, and he was like all screwed.
Yeah, but here's the thing. He tricked Peter Vincent into letting him in the new one.
Oh wait, well,
Because he dressed up as a package carrier,
Oh,
and he goes, "Oh
yeah.
yeah, send him in."
yeah.
So there's
Peter Vincent didn't even know. Actually, he didn't even know who evil was.
right. So
Yeah.
they still made it work.
Yeah. Well,
It's the whole point that he
I have
ruined
to
it in the
rewatch.
beginning.
I'll-
The rest of it was funny. He was good.
See, the reason I like the new one better is because the new evil, when he was a vampire, he's like, "Yeah, now what, people? I'm a vampire. Now now you can't pick on me anymore. You can't do this. You can't do that."
Yeah.
But when the old evil, because that's what Jerry did on both of them. That's what was really cool. He used evil's
insecurities.
yeah to turn him. Well, in the old one, he really didn't change when he became a vampire. He was going after Peter Vincent gets burned, and he's like, "Oh, no, you!" And he
No,
runs and jumps out
well,
the window.
Yeah, but
Turns into a crying, sniveling little
But,
kid.
but he was hit in the head with a cross, and
It wasn't hit. It was placed on his head.
placed on his
Yeah.
head, and he was burned. So he figures he's invincible.
He starts
He
crying.
figured he was invincible because he was a
There's no
vampire.
crying
no,
in
He
vampires.
figured he was
Come on.
He figured he was invincible because he was a vampire, and he got a cross on his head. And he got burned, and then he ran off. Whereas opposed to this one, he was already a vampire for a while before he actually ran into it. He was just a vampire for one night, and he was basically
And
a
one
pretty weak
scene.
vampire. Yeah, and remember
Because he goes after
Oh, no,
Peter
the
Vincent.
first.
the first
Yeah.
one? Yeah.
He goes after Peter Vincent the second time.
Yeah, in the house when he turns into the wolf.
Yeah.
And then he gets hit right in the chest with the stake, and then he turns.
So you both like the old one, and I
Yeah.
like the new one.
Yeah.
All right, Amy, the girlfriend, old or new? I like the new.
Oh.
Um, I like the new.
I like the old one only because of the character. It's Marcy from Married with Children.
Yeah. Where she becomes a vampire, her huge mouth with all the teeth and everything.
Yeah.
And I kinda
Oh
like-
yeah, that's right.
Well, the vampire designs in the first one were a little bit more scary. Just in the design of them, when they became vampires,
And
they
their
were kind
mouths
of
were all
like
spread out.
yeah, they're kind of like mutant vampires. But still, I mean, but even okay, Peter Vincent. You gotta do Peter Vincent.
Wait a minute, we just said Amy. We're like, oh, we didn't we didn't even go there yet.
All right, so yeah, well, I thought I like the new Amy because lot of ways when they first run into the vampires.
Right.
But you know, yeah. How about yourself?
I like the damsel in distress. You know, I like the first one. You know, she played the part well. She needed help, and she was the needy girlfriend. And I liked the first one.
See, I like the second one where they actually gave her some character instead of like being like always Nini Brewster. She actually could stand on her own. All right, so now Peter Vincent.
Peter Vincent, new versus old.
I like the new.
I like the old, but I thought about it, and I like the new better.
I'm at a tie. I like both of them. Because in the new, because in the first one he just nailed it perfect as the horror host. That was, you know, like he was this really bad horror actor, and then Brewster goes to him asking for help, and then he thinks he knows everything about vampires, and he really doesn't. And in this one, I liked it because number one is David Tennant, who was the 10th Doctor in Doctor Who. Yeah, he was the 10th Doctor.
Oh.
He was in Doctor Who. And he's a really good actor, and it's just the way how he portrayed Peter Vincent. It was just a different portrayal, but Peter Vincent was always, I thought, out of all the Franks, there's always a stronger character of all of them. Where his character was kind of like the key character. Where
Peter Vincent?
yeah, yeah.
How did you get he was a key character?
Well,
in the
'cause
Well,
first
they
one?
started off the movie with his film.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they started off with you wanting to know who this guy was. So, I think he is a key.
Not really, because if you think about it, I mean, like you see a lot of movies where they're watching something on TV, and then it just goes, you know, just to give you a feel that these are normal people living like normal people do, and they watch TV like you do.
Yeah, but still, Peter Vincent's is a key part of it. Without Peter Vincent, you know, you wouldn't have the good play between Charlie and Peter.
Well, of course not, because if Peter Vincent wasn't there, you wouldn't have Charlie and Peter.
Yeah, but you have Charlie and someone else. But the character of the vampire hunter is you know is good. But the only thing I didn't like about the new Peter Vincent is the his way how Jerry fought him or killed his parents.
How the new story they added
Yeah,
to
that was
how
kind of
he...
convenient.
Yeah.
You gotta remember though, like all right, he told Peter, like when he saw evil, he's like, yeah, you've been watching me, I've been watching you.
Yeah.
He follows people around. He's been watching Peter Vincent, so maybe he was following Peter Vincent to Vegas, and that's why he was there to begin with.
What would we be doing there to kill him?
Yeah,
Well, why would we waste so long? He could have killed him at any moment.
because he likes to toy with his people.
Or maybe he has all the vampire gear in his house and he's ready to fight him. Or he's surrounded by it. Or he knows.
But he still goes there.
Yeah. Even with all those artifacts and stuff.
Or maybe he just didn't care.
Maybe he thought because he survived for 400 years that he was giving Peter Vincent the idea that he could do it just to get more fun out of it. Instead of just being like, oh, it's just a normal human, I can walk up and kill him at any time.
And you can watch him and toy with him. Like
Right, and the whole
said.
thing about the whole time, you know, you killed this kid's parents and he knows you did it. So the whole time he's tormented by the thought that happened.
Alright. Good point. I didn't think about that, but that's a really good point. So, overall, we've gone over the pros and cons of the remake and the original. So I guess before we wrap this up, for the remake, video or DVD? Sorry, theater.
Video or DVD. Well, since on VHS is really hard to come by nowadays, and most movies don't come out on VHS, I'm going to say DVD on that one. But no, I liked it. I'd see it in theaters, not 3D. A lot of the movies coming out in 3D now, they're shot really dark, and the 3D effects really aren't that good in the darkness. Because, like, by the time you realize, like, by the time the 3D effect actually shows, because it's so dark, it's not really worth it.
But also, some of the 3D is converted DVD. It's not real DVD. So it's conversion DVD. Conversion DVD is always darker. It sucks.
Right, but I like it when it's converted not to DVD, but to 3D.
3D, sorry. Theater, remake theater or DVD?
What? Say that one more time.
Oh, theater or DVD?
For remake.
For remake, yes.
Oh, duh. I'm gonna go with DVD.
DVD?
Yeah.
Cool. Myself, on this one, I'm gonna go theater. I didn't like the first half of it, but I thought the second half redeemed it. And if you're gonna go out and see a horror film, considering what it is, I think it could be a good experience to see in the